I'm your host, Hermetic Man. We're going to talk about the Hermetic philosophy in episode 1.
Oh my God.
In episode 153, let me finish.
Sorry.
What Western tradition is this? Is it 4? It's been a while.
Hey, Alex, what was the tradition is this?
Is it 3? Is it 4? I don't freaking know. But we're going to talk about Hermeticism.
Yeah.
And it is a very exciting community. And it's very old. It's very, prolific.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like...
Dude, you kind of remind me of somebody who just got called up to explain their project who did not do any work about their project.
Prep a presentation.
Standing in front of the class saying it's very this, it's very that. I'm not dogging you. I'm just...
Well, I'm glad you're not dogging me, man.
I'm totally dogging you, but I know you prepared for this.
Oh, my God.
It's like, some days you say I'm handsome. Some days you say I'm not. I mean...
I've never said you're not handsome.
It's a full disclosure thing.
Oh, okay.
I've never said, for the record, I've never said you're not handsome.
You just sometimes say I am.
And sometimes you don't,
Mm-hmm.
which when you don't, you might as well be saying he's not handsome. So we're going to need you to say
Well,
that.
I'll take that into account. So,
Yeah.
Well,
move on.
yeah, we're going to move on and we're going to recover from that. So Hermeticism, I want to get into the legendary origin and what it is according to like the mystical version, and then we'll go into the historicity. Hermeticism is very fascinating to me particularly. That did kind of feel like I was narrating something there, didn't it?
A little bit.
A little bit, yeah.
I like it, though. It's kind of like a nature documentary.
Yeah. Or like a philosophy documentary.
Yeah. A philoccumentary, if you will.
There we go. Philosophize, baby.
You about to be philosophizing. Hit me with it.
Yeah, man. I just can't stop thinking about Alex as a sugar baby.
Really? Is that what's stuck in your mind right now?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of hard to start after that shit we were talking about.
That's true.
But I digress.
Okay, yeah.
We were just having a riveting conversation. That's all. Right before the camera was rolling.
I am loving the way that this episode is starting. Everything about this is great.
It's been a while since a deep dive, and I'm just feeling a little shy in front of the camera.
Alex is dying right now behind his desk. He's lost it.
Oh, dude, we do got to make an honorable mention. Obviously Alex was here last night recording full disclosure, so we were, catching up on stuff last night. Did you see the most recent appearance of Duncan Trussell
on
Joe
Joe
Rogan?
Rogan? Yeah.
Remind you of anyone?
The way that they showed up. Somebody put that in the Discord.
Did they?
Yeah, they put in the Discord
No, that's what I said in full disclosure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Someone made a meme about it.
Oh, my God, dude. I missed that.
They put Joe and Duncan dressed as Alex this episode.
That's amazing, dude. That is so funny. It is pretty close.
Oh, I'm just realizing because they had like the like morph suits on and they said Tesla on them. They were dressed as like the Tesla bots.
Were they?
I'm just putting that together. Yeah.
I didn't even watch it. I just saw the picture, and then Alex brought it up last night. He was like, "Dude, did someone?" I guess you did say someone made a comment that's how you dressed on the Tom Bat Force.
Yeah.
Bat Force Radio.
Yeah.
It's so funny.
That's an obscure thing that I wonder how many of our viewers / listeners have actually seen. Probably not very many of them.
Right.
But for those of you who don't know, we went on Bat Force Tom's show and Alex just showed up in full Riddler cosplay. Like it was so legendary.
Didn't tell us he was going to do it.
Nope.
Or anything.
Just showed up. And we saw it, and it was difficult to record that episode.
And he was quiet for a while, too. Just stared at us.
Oh, why? He didn't say anything.
The first 20 minutes.
He didn't say anything. And then there was some kind of break or something.
No. So they brought up they brought up an example. So okay, I'm on fire.
Wow.
No, I've got this ski mask on and a jacket, full coat, sitting inside, and I'm just sweating. And I'm like, we're 20 minutes in. I'm like, I cannot do this much longer. And they showed an example of what they were talking about on the screen and covered the whole screen with this picture. I ran off camera, took everything off, and sat back down like in normal clothes.
You want to know what my favorite part about that whole situation was? The entire time while Alex is head to toe in this garb, This was his face for 20 minutes straight. He was like this.
Yeah. I have the picture somewhere, dude.
It was like he couldn't get over how funny he was being. It was like he couldn't hide it. He was just like, it was like you could see his thoughts, and they were just like, I'm so funny right now. He was just like,
That's true.
That's amazing, dude.
so look,
It's true.
the dedicated fans out there, go find that and watch it. You will not be disappointed. It is
Life imitates art.
yeah, sure.
That's a real quote.
It is.
Or is it art imitates life?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
No, I think you had it right the first time.
I just don't really see how it applies here, but it's okay. It's all right.
It's just funny that he did it and it was obscure, and then it was like the same concept was done on a much bigger show.
Oh, right. Okay, yeah.
It's just funny.
It was legendary.
Yeah. So, moving back to Hermeticism. It's very special to me because when I first was kind of like coming out of my fundamental Christian stage many years ago, back when I was still kind of like, I guess if this phenomenon stuff started when I was 13, by the time I was in my early 20s, I was really having doubts about like going to traditional church anymore. How do I fit in this framework? How does this make sense according to what I'm being told is real, but then what I'm experiencing and seeing is actually real? How does this work? The beings are saying all these things about ancient Egypt and the pyramids and the Sphinx and Amun-Ra and other names like Hathor, and then I'm going to Pentecostal church on Sunday, and in my mind I was like, this just doesn't line up. Like I was like grasping for something more. But as you know, growing up in the Christian church, you're not encouraged to study anything outside of the Bible.
Very much the opposite. You are explicitly told, like, if you are looking into any other religion or whatever, you are like actively sinning and like will go to hell.
Yeah, like it's all demonic or satanic or, God forbid, occult.
Yeah.
And I remember being in my brother's room one time, and he had this like Christian book that was given to him, and it was about like the evils of the occult, and it had these pentagrams and symbols on it. And I just remember growing up and having this lens pushed on me that anything outside of the Bible, anything occult or esoteric, is inherently evil. And then, cut to 2012, all this, like, I guess, conspiracy stuff went wildly mainstream, probably because everyone thought the world was going to end or something, and the CERN Hadron Collider was going off, and 2012 was just a crazy year for humanity. I think it was like probably, even though we didn't know it at the time, it was probably a leap in consciousness. I mean, really, like if you think about it, 2012 was a crazy year. That's the year I found out about the Illuminati. Now, I know in the past on previous episodes I've made comments like maybe there are misinterpretations of the word and what it actually means. The idea of like this group that is very small in number, probably less than 1% of the world's population, but control the wealth and the resources and the knowledge and big pharma and agriculture and tech and all of the Hollywood media, etc. All of that stuff. I mean, there really is some sort of influential group that holds all this power. But my question in the past has been like, what do we call them? Ooh, the Illuminati. I don't know. But
it's been a minute.
Yeah, like 3 years. I mean, that's like OG episodes.
Yeah.
But still, I mean, I do believe there is some sort of group, and I kind of have met people who are in great positions of power and even government positions of power who have claimed to be in the Illuminati, and so it's like for the sake of conversation, I'm just using that term in that context,
right?
So the Illuminati or whatever. I find out about that in 2012, and I start to learn a little bit more about Freemasonry and some of these secret societies, but from the lens of like, yes, I'm seeing these beings and understanding there's something more out there, some sort of extra biblical knowledge, but I'm still within the framework of like being a Pentecostal classical Christian and not understanding where to go, where to turn to. And then furthermore, thinking all that stuff is evil or occult.
Yeah, because you can't even really entertain like other interpretations of the Bible.
Oh.
Like you can't stray from the path in the slightest.
Right.
It's like take it literally, and that's
literally
it. That's it.
Like I remember my pastor saying at one point, this is just how crazy it can be. Like literally at one point being like, well, at first the view was like, fundamental. There's a split. I believe I learned about this in Intro to Religion in college. It's like there's old Earth Christians and new Earth Christians, and it's like a academic term for the split in Christianity, where the old Earth Christians are open to the interpretation that Earth is billions of years old, right?
Right.
And then the new earthers are like, no, it's 6,000 years old. Like, a lot of the Bible Belt and people we know and what we're used to.
Yeah.
But there is a split, right? But anyway, so I remember at one point my pastor having this out of the box thought in church, and being like, well, I think that the dinosaurs walked beside humans 6,000 years ago. Because it's like they found bones, but Earth is only 6,000 years old. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Trying to rationalize it within the context of the quote-unquote literal Bible.
Right.
Yeah.
That's my point, is it gets to be absurd when your whole framework of the universe is contained within the less than 1,000 pages of the 66 books of the Bible that, by the way, were given to us by the people in power. Just saying. We did a whole episode on it. I'm not mocking or denying any sort of accuracy or legitimacy to some of the lessons and teachings of the Bible. I'm just saying the structure that it is today was given to us, and there's a lot to question, and there's a lot that we don't understand about how it's conceived. You get what I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, we did the whole history of the Bible episode where we talked about the stuff that was taken out and the stuff that was added and the stuff that was just arbitrarily decided upon.
Yeah. I'm not going to go into all that now because we've already done it.
Yeah.
But my point is, I wasn't at that point yet in 2012, and I'm learning about the Illuminati. I'm learning about Freemasons. I'm learning about all this stuff, and I'm like, oh my God, this is crazy. My mind is like expanding with what's out there. Mm-hmm. Still trying to read the Bible to understand it. How can you learn about, the taste of an orange if all you eat is apples? You know what I mean? You just can't. You just can't understand something until you've interfaced with it personally and directly. So cut forward about 2 or 3 years. At this point, I'm a junior in college. And by this point, so I went to a small university. It's a private university in Fayetteville called Methodist University. And it started in the 50s. It was called Methodist College. It used to be a Christian school, like literally a Methodist Christian school. And they did away with that. It became a university, but it was still private. So part of the curriculum to graduate, by like bare minimum, you had to have 2 philosophy and religion courses. Usually not required.
When you went, that was required?
Yeah.
Oh.
It's usually not required at college. You don't have to take philosophy and religion, as far as I know. But at Methodist, you did. So I took the 2 philosophy and religion, and I ended up loving the classes so much because of all of this crazy knowledge that I learned. I was like, oh my God. And then you get to a point where you're like, by like sophomore or junior year, you're kind of like mostly through the credits you need for your major. Especially by senior year, you're like, dang, I just need to take BS classes to graduate. I need 10 points in any class.
Yeah.
So at that point, I was like, well, I'll just take more religion. Mm-hmm. And by the time I was at about my 7th religion class, the chair of the department was like, dude, you literally can declare this as a minor. And I was like, oh, sweet. Awesome. I was just having fun, And like my highest grade was in the philosophy and religion department. And it's too late for me to graduate with that degree, but I enjoyed it way more than everything else. So by about my junior year, I started taking this class called, I can't remember what it was called because it's been like 10 plus years ago, but it was like a higher level. It was like a major level religion course, like at the 300 or 400 level. 100 is like freshman or intro. Then you have 200, 300, 400. And it basically is like freshman, sophomore, junior, senior. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like when you're going through a major. People who are not in a major are not typically taking 300 and 400 level courses. Mm-hmm. But I was at this point because I was just going deeper into the system. And I was taking this course that was like, it was basically like an overview. Oh, it was called Early Christianity. That's what it was called. Early Christianity. That's right. I knew it was on the tip of my tongue, but it was this class where the entire semester's overview was the literal formation of Christianity, not
like the real historical
origin. Yeah. Yes. And it wasn't like, reading the Gospels. It was actually completely the opposite. It was like looking at the real history, studying the writings of like Philo of Alexandria, Tacitus, Pliny the Elder, and all of these historians and Roman officials and Jewish historians who were like writing about this, and it's like real historical documents that are giving evidence that certain things happened or existed, like historicity, right? There's nothing to do about reading the Bible or anything like that. And in that class, this is when my life really changed. This was the second time I had heard this phrase. It was told to me before, but I wasn't really into it. In that class, we learned about the history of the Gnostic movement, right? We've done episodes on Gnosticism. We did a whole wisdom tradition segment. In that class, I learned about the Gnostic movement, and I was like, oh my God, this is crazy. Started diving into their texts, reading it. I remember having heard the word Gnostic or Gnosticism framed as like, they worship Lucifer, it's the devil, it's the Illuminati, like that terminology being thrown around. But then I learned about the actual history of it, like being forced at the literal university level to study it and read some of the texts, understand the conception of it, how it was heretical, how they were killed, how the different sects, Valentinian Gnosticism, how they came to be in history. And I went home and I started diving deeper into it. And then sometime that year or the following year, I had a dream. And I was just graduated from college at this point that I had this dream. And in my dream, Osiris came to me. I've talked about this dream before. But it was really profound. It was like the kind of dream that was perspective shifting. There were like frogs hopping around my room, and I caught one of these frogs, and it died in my hand, and I was really sad, and then it was reborn, and it came back to life. And I distinctly remember it was super vivid. It felt almost lucid, except I wasn't in control. And Osiris was just standing at the foot of my bed, and he was like telling me something, but I couldn't hear what he was saying. And I woke up the next day, and at that point I was working with my brother doing construction right out of college. I didn't have a job yet. I was just like, well, in the meantime, I'll just work with you.
Yeah.
And I remember all day like beating my brain. Like, what did that mean? What did that mean? That dream was so weird. And that night I went home and I started researching everything about Osiris, ancient Egypt, the frogs, the symbolism. I found out that there was frog symbolism with Osiris because frogs, they basically, they don't literally die, but they go through a transformation. They go from tadpole to frog. They transform.
Right.
Metamorphosis, right? Symbolic of like the transformation of the soul. And I learned all this stuff. Like there was actually a figure in the way ancient past that they accredited to being a man named King Osiris, who was like the sage that traveled around with a crook and a flail. The crook is like the shepherd's tool to like herd the sheep, I was like, oh my God, there's something really to this. That night I came across Hermeticism.
Where? How did...
I was just reading everything I could.
Okay.
About.
So you were researching because of the dream and you just came across it.
I found Hermeticism.
Gotcha.
It's a word that I had seen before. But again, just like the Gnostic thing, it was framed to me in like a satanic lens. It's satanic, you know? It's occult. It's what the Satanists believe. So I never like looked into it. I never cared, what in my mindset back then, I didn't want to interface that with anything that I thought was evil or satanic.
Yeah.
Then I had the dream. Then I found it. And I spent a very long period of time, definitely all night. I remember at the time I was living with my parents, and I just shut myself in a room all night, didn't really talk to them, and I just researched this stuff and looked into it. And then a year later, I was living in Wilmington with my wife. We weren't married yet, but I just remember it being about a year before I really looked into it again. And I was working at the furniture store with Alex. And
Shout out Alex.
The Riddler himself. Or the Rizzler, as they know him here in the streets.
We're getting him off the streets.
Yeah, we are. We have to.
We have to.
We have to.
For the sake of humanity, we have to keep him off the streets.
Yeah. And out the sheets, man. I'm telling you, bro.
Okay.
Because the Rizzler...
Okay. All right. So anyway. Because the Rizzler...
We have to.
We have to keep him off the streets and out of the sheets.
Yeah. Because he's crazy, man.
Yeah.
I was working with Alex at the time, And as it goes in our furniture job that we worked at, Ashley, there would be a lot of days where it's like, you don't have a client in the store. So it's like, you kind of you have the freedom to just maybe look on your phone for a little bit or whatever,
Yeah.
It wasn't like a job where you actively had to do work constantly. It was sales. So it was like, oh, someone's in the store, blah, 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 blah. They're gone. All right, cool.
Yeah.
The act is up. I'm going to chill for a little bit. And there would be a lot of time where I was at that job where I was so bored because I didn't always have something to do that I would dive into these texts because I didn't really have the time between when I discovered it till then to really look into this stuff. Because then I went through the move and then I went from job to job and it was out of my mind for like over a year,
Yeah.
And I start going into Hermeticism deeper and studying it, listening to podcasts about it, and then listening to other podcasts, and it would pop up and I would hear about it. And I kept noticing this theme that it was prominent historically. And I read some of the Corpus Hermeticum, and I read this text called the Divine Pymander, which was really brilliant. And I'll tell you how I found it, because in the text, the Divine Pymander, which was this dragon that was like the element of fire that symbolized God, the highest transcendent mind, like emanating the universe into existence, teaching Hermes Trismegistus about the fundamental structure of the universe. He's known as Osiris.
The dragon?
Yes, the Divine Pymander dragon. He's also known as, he's said to be Osiris, like the aspect of Osiris. So I was like, dang, there's a weird connection here with this Egyptian, these dreams I'm having. And at one point I did, I had a dream about hieroglyphs and I was just being pulled to this Egyptian knowledge. But when you look at like mainstream Egyptian knowledge, it's just kind of, it has the appearance of like paganism. It's like, how can I really put any significance into this? It's like, don't take this the wrong way, but it's like looking at Hellenistic Greek mythology. It's like, oh, this is really cool, but like, where do I find the like
application?
The relevant distilled truth from this?
It's like, well, what does this do for me right now? Like in my journey of finding out what consciousness and the spirit is like.
Right. It's like, I understand that there, this is all metaphors for nature and like, but I'm trying to find the legitimate deep spiritual significance of this Egyptian stuff. It's like, where do I go? And Hermeticism, it hit me like lightning. And I got a couple quotes from the Divine Pymander, and then I'm going to...
Is this post the lady?
Oh, yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So, which is, the lady shows up, starts telling your dad about Egypt,
right?
Drags his soul to Egypt. Like, it's
right.
It's like, you must have had some inkling in your mind, like, okay.
And then I started having dreams about Egypt. So I was like, where do I go?
Right. It's like, you are being pulled from every direction to look into Egypt.
Right.
Yeah.
So I found Hermeticism.
Yeah.
So here's just a couple of really cool quotes from the Divine Pymander. It's known as probably the oldest Hermetic text. I got to scroll all the way down to the bottom of my notes here. I put them at the bottom. The Divine Pymander. That which is below is like that which is above, and that which is above is like that which is below, to accomplish the miracles of the one thing. The light is the Son of God, from whom emanated the goodness. This is the mind, the word, the wisdom, and the light. For I am the mind and the light and the word and the life and the grace and the peace and the mercy and the salvation and the rest and the rebirth and the truth and the Father. Thus he who knows himself knows all things in himself. For the only evil is ignorance, the only good is knowledge. And the word of God is above all things, in the beginning and the end, the mighty ruler of all of creation. And like I said, it's this story of this sage figure, Hermes Trismegistus, which I'm going to go into in a minute. This dragon comes down from the heavens, pulls him up, and takes him on this cosmic journey through all of time and space, and shows him this vision of like how reality emanates from God, from the fire, from the highest flame. And at some point, either in the text or like scholars speaking about the text are like, he was also, the Divine Pymander was represented as Osiris. So I was like, okay, there's something here. So I go deeper. So now it's like, enough about my introduction to it. What is it? So Hermeticism is in the esoteric community, you could say, or the body of esoteric literature, is considered to be the primordial knowledge, the Prissa Theologia. And it is the concept that there is one original knowledge that transcends all established religions and is more ancient than all established religions, and in fact influences the religions. It's like the single light that is shining into all religions. It's the older knowledge, the oldest knowledge. It's the primordial truth, right? The legend goes that Hermes Trismegistus was the sage, the first ever enlightened sage who existed. Some speculate whether he was a real man. Maybe it's a mythological figure, and it's this group of initiates who were drafting this idea of this like godlike figure to try to carry the story through the ages.
Mm-hmm.
Was he real? Was he not? We don't really know.
Yeah.
And there's all kinds of like historical evidence of people like referencing the texts and referencing the figure as an enlightened sage, like legitimate, substantiated historical claims. Like in the Islamic tradition and Sufism, they actually say in some of their texts that Hermes Trismegistus was Enoch.
Yeah, I was going to say there's lots of parallels with other religions.
Some traditions,
Yeah.
some Jewish historians, like Artapanus. It's hard to say his name. I have it written down. Artapanus says that this is what he says. It's pretty sick. And this Moses, they said, was the teacher of Orpheus. And when he grew up, he taught mankind many useful things. He was the inventor of ships, the machines for laying stones, Egyptian arms, and engines for drawing water in war. He invented philosophy. Further, he divided the state into 36 nomes and appointed the god to be worshipped by each nome and the sacred writing for the priests, and their gods were cats and dogs and ibises, like Thoth. He also apportioned a special district for the priests. All these things he did for the sake of keeping the sovereignty firm and safe for, I don't know how to say this word, Chenepbres. For previously the multitudes being under no order, now expelled and now set up kings, often the same persons, but sometimes others. For these reasons, Moses was beloved by the multitudes, and being deemed by the priests worthy to be honored like a god, was named Hermes because of his interpretation of the hieroglyphics.
Moses.
Yes, that's what I was trying to say. Some attributed Hermes Trismegistus to being Moses. Some attributed him to being Enoch. The point is, we have writings from thousands of years ago saying it was a real person. Who was he?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Talking about the legendary origin, which is, he came from this vault and had these tablets, the Emerald Tablets of Thoth, which there are real texts, and had knowledge of the 7 sciences and distributed this information to humanity and lifted the consciousness, created mathematics and music and poetry and all of these different liberal arts, you could call them, agriculture, war, metallurgy, theurgy, astrology, magic, all of it. The distributed all of this knowledge to mankind. That's the legendary version, But anyway, so...
Isn't there a lot of overlap between Hermes Trismegistus and Thoth?
Yes.
Like it's thought among some that they're the same.
That's actually what I was about to get into next.
Hey.
He's considered, so like the word Hermes Trismegistus is a translation which means thrice greatest or thrice great. And that word comes from the idea that in the time that this knowledge of Hermes Trismegistus was being spread, it was like the Greco-Egyptian peak of society where we're around the 1st century where like Greek was influencing Egypt philosophically, mathematically, and you had all these major Greek capitals in Egypt like Alexandria and, I can't name them all off the top of my head, but the cultures were intermingling. And as these cultures were mixing and they were sharing ideas with one another, they began to notice that the Greek god Hermes was very similar to the Egyptian god Thoth. Thoth was this ibis-headed figure who was depicted with a tablet and a quill, and he's like the scribe of the gods. He's also created language, magic, music, knowledge, mysteries, the occult, the esoteric, and he is the translator of the gods, and he relays their messages to mankind and from mankind to God, which is a parallel to Enoch, the scribe of the gods, as
Yeah.
we talk about in the Metatron episode. Same with Hermes. He's
Yeah.
the messenger of the gods.
Yeah, exactly. It's like the same legend.
Same with Mercury in the Roman culture.
Yeah, wait. Isn't there a Hermes Mercurius
Yes.
Thoth?
Trismegistus,
It's
thrice
the
great.
same thing. Just
Yes.
another name.
Hermes Mercurius. Hermes Mercurius Thoth. God, these words are tough.
Yeah, it's all hard to say.
Yeah. Hermes Mercurius Thoth. Hermes Trismegistus.
Yeah.
Say that 18 times fast.
18?
I mean, just throw an imaginary number, man.
Okay. 18. All right, cool.
I mean, why not?
It's usually 3 times fast. I'm just saying.
Well, I mean,
18 seems like a lot.
raise it up there,
Raise
Get it up there. 20 times fast.
Okay.
Hermes Trismegistus.
You did it. That was 20 times.
That was actually 80 times.
Whoa.
Yeah.
How'd you do that?
The occult.
Okay. Occult magic.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have
Sick.
this higher knowledge.
Sick.
So, reading from my notes here. I know. Trismegistus means thrice greatest, indicating his status as a divine figure of immense wisdom and knowledge. He is associated with alchemy, astrology, and the occult, and his teachings are believed to have inspired Hermeticism, a philosophical and esoteric tradition. In Greek mythology, Hermes is known as the messenger. He has the wings on his feet, symbolizing flight. He flies between the realms, and he gives the messages. In some cartoons and popular culture, he's wow.
It's a leap
What is
day.
it?
It's
Another leap day.
It's a
man.
leap day.
Dude, we just recorded an episode. None of this.
Yeah.
It's Alec. I just can't get my mind off of
Wow.
the Rizzler.
Dude, he's tripping you up.
Yeah, man.
You gotta stop looking at him.
He's tripping me up, man.
Yeah. You gotta stop looking over
He's
at
tripping
him.
me up, man. And whenever I'm feeling down, and I have said this before, maybe this won't be news to you guys, but sometimes when I'm feeling down, I just close my eyes and I think about him smiling.
I don't think you've said that before. I don't remember you saying that before. Alex looks shocked. I don't think you've said that before.
No, I have.
I don't think you've said it out loud.
I know I have.
Okay. All right.
I know I have.
All right.
I don't think he said that.
He meditates about you.
So we have.
Someone's got to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, why not, man? Someone's got to carry the torch, Like Atlas with the weight of the world on my shoulders.
Oh, God.
I'm like Prometheus bringing the flame. I'm telling you,
Right.
man. It's like
and the flame is Alex's smile.
in my mind.
In your mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Cool.
yeah, so we have the Corpus Hermeticum, which are like the legitimate historical texts that have surfaced in the medieval era all the way back to like the 1st century that are like the Hermetic body of knowledge containing the philosophy.
It's many books.
Yeah, it's about 18 books.
That's where 18 came from.
Yeah, I guess so.
I'm catching up. I'm catching up.
Let's look it up, man.
All right.
Look, I'm pretty sure it's 18 books. Look,
It has to be. Otherwise, that number, it was just too arbitrary. Like, you told me to repeat it 18 times. It's just too specific. And then I ask you how many books there are, and you say 18?
oh, wow. This says there's 17. I swear I saw today there was 18, though, man.
Well, now there's 18.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
There's 18, bro.
So anyway.
So we have the Corpus Hermeticum, which contains the works like the Divine Pymander, also known as Poimandres in the Greek language. It was written in Greek. We have the Emerald Tablets of Thoth, which have been translated by some pretty impressive historical figures like Isaac Newton, Helena Blavatsky. I forgot to mention, but Hermeticism has basically influenced every major esoteric society. Freemasonry, Rosicrucianism, Theosophy, Renaissance-era magic, alchemy, Kabbalah, Gnosticism, Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn. That one was a head-scratcher.
Right.
What?
What?
You just...
What did I do?
You
never meditated about me smiling.
Well, that's because I meditate about different things with you.
Okay. We don't have to elaborate.
And your reaction there caught me off guard, okay? I'm allowed to be surprised. I'm allowed it.
You are allowed it. You're allowed it.
And most of all, Theosophy.
Right. Think you said it already, but yeah.
Did I?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
It's okay.
So,
Most important.
anyway, so Why are you laughing now?
Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh.
So it's influenced all this shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
All of it.
That's where as above, so below comes from. The concept that, you know, the
That wasn't a Gnostic thing?
no,
Oh, shit.
it's a Hermetic thing.
Mm.
Hermeticism influenced the Gnostics. Hermeticism is older than the Gnostics.
Oh, okay. I'm tripping.
And then, you know, you have the key difference there where the Gnostics are like, the world is a prison, it's a trap, you know, the material world is literally the devil, and, you know, the soul is born here, it's hell, it's a nightmare.
Yeah.
Your flesh is imprisoned in this eternal suffering, and the only thing you can do is reach this gnosis, this inner illumination, where you can free yourself from, you know, the mortal coil of prison, you know, being born here. And then the opposite perspective, Hermeticism, is like, no, actually, the entire universe is a complete harmonious unity, and everything in existence emanates from one transcendent mind, or the Greek word nous, N-O-U-S, which they don't really have like a legitimate translation for, but in this context of esoteric literature, it over the ages has come to be understood as the transcendent mind of God.
Yeah.
You know, the nous. Everything emanates from the nous. So there's a distinct split between Hermeticism and Gnosticism. And it's like, I don't know, I think elements of both are true, you know. And then there is a distinction to be made that in some of the Hermetic writings, that viewpoint is taken. Where it's like, no, actually material world is evil.
Right.
You know. So scholars believe that this little set of contradictions in the Hermetic texts stem from the concept that as the initiates of the past, because, you know, this was secret knowledge, right? This was very highly guarded secret knowledge, and it was taught to initiates. They had symbolic rituals and ceremonies to I guess, like, reach the next level of consciousness where the master would deem them worthy to receive the next level of texts. And it's believed that these contradictions are presented, you know, you have this perspective when you're at this level of initiation, when your mind is on this level. And then when you go through the purification process, or as they would say, alchemy, the transmutation of the soul, and you reach higher states of consciousness and, you know, are a better person, you're seeking more unity with the spirit and understanding and craving the knowledge, then they say, okay, now we're going to show you the real perspective.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
They give it to you as you quote unquote earn it.
Right.
Kind of thing. So it sounds like Hermeticism was like the OG, like, secret society.
It was.
Kind of, yeah.
And, like, I don't have the book on me at the moment because we literally just moved and my house is like 1,000,000 boxes. But I have Isis Unveiled, which is literally, you know, it's Helena Blavatsky. It's like the main books of Theosophy, and I have not read them. They're like thousands of pages, but I have them and I've flipped through them and I've you know, gone through them and looked at interesting quotes and parts and things. And when you open the book, one of the very first quotes from Helena Blavatsky herself is about Hermeticism. I could probably Google it, or Alex, if you wouldn't mind, Google like Helena Blavatsky quote on Hermeticism. But she basically says like Hermeticism is the key to opening all of this knowledge. Like all of these great schools of knowledge are telling you like Hermeticism is the key.
They all point to Hermeticism as like the original source for this knowledge.
Freemasons, Rosicrucians, all of them.
Yeah.
I was listening to, shout out Isaac Weishaupt. He changed the name of his show. I think it's now known as Occult Symbolism in Pop Culture. It used to be Conspiracy Theories in Pop Culture.
Right, yes.
It's Occult Symbolism in Pop Culture. He does a great deep dive into esoteric stuff. And actually something that he does that I really appreciate and most people don't do, at least in the, you know, the podcast scene, is he goes into firsthand texts. I love that.
Yeah.
And, you know, if you listen to his show, he's very often reading from, you know, firsthand sources. And I think that's very important. If you're trying to learn about something, go and read some of the firsthand knowledge. And he had a Freemason on his show several times, actually, a really interesting dude named, it's something Sullivan. I think it's James Sullivan IV. I can't remember his name, but it's something Sullivan IV. And he's like a 32nd degree Freemason. And he would have him on and he would pick his brain. Like about Freemasonry, the symbolism, and he wrote these books called Cinema Symbolism. And it's some of the stuff that we talk about, like the occult and esoteric symbolism in movies.
Robert Sullivan.
Robert Sullivan.
The
yeah.
fourth.
Yep. Robert Sullivan the fourth. Very interesting guy, dude.
Yeah, Robert Sullivan and cinema symbolism.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And he has him on his show multiple times. And they do like in-depth breakdowns of his book. And they do like The Shining. They do
Aronofsky.
Yeah, so many movies he breaks down, and he's telling you like the Masonic and esoteric symbolism, and it's like, oh my God, this is mind-blowing stuff. And honestly, his show is largely the reason why I'm so interested in that and why it's so fascinating. But anyway, when Robert Sullivan IV was on there, and he's talking openly about Masonic symbolism, one of the things he said that let me know I was on the right path was he talked about Hermes Trismegistus, and he told the legend of it, about how it was taught in Freemasonic temples, that he went, and the legend goes, he went into this subterranean vault, and then he comes out and he has these tablets, the emerald tablets, and he dispenses the knowledge to mankind. He goes under, he's enlightened, and then he comes out and he has this knowledge. Sounds like Jesus, right? He's crucified on the cross. If you're a Catholic, the doctrine goes he descended into hell for 3 days, and then he comes out, boom, he's transfigured. He's a light being. He's illuminated. He's reached enlightenment, and he's the awakened Christ. And he teaches all these mysteries for 40 days, and then he disappears. And then 10 days later, the Pentecost happens. You all know the story. You've all read the Bible, right? You've all been to church. Who else does it sound like? Orpheus. He descends into hell for
the underworld.
Yeah, he descends into. There's always this theme. We talked about this in the Godzilla episode, where there's these resonant themes in these stories that speak to our soul. But in ancient times, they would have this hero's journey where they would descend into the underworld, either literally or figuratively, and then they would come out and they would be enlightened and they would be, awakened or whatever. So. Yeah, so they all point towards Hermeticism as being like the OG.
Yeah,
like
the source.
Yes, the source.
Yeah.
So now I want to talk about the cosmology. What does it actually teach? Like, what is it actually about?
Yeah.
We can talk all day about like why it's genuine, why it exists, why it's historical. We can talk about like, references in ancient writings like Clement of Alexandria, Lactantius, St. Augustine, all these different people. But let's get into the cosmology. So the Hermetic cosmology offers a profound and comprehensive view of the universe, blending elements of ancient philosophy, mysticism, and spiritual wisdom. It's based on the principle of unity, the idea that all things are interconnected and part of a single harmonious whole. There are 3 great principles, and this overlaps with the 7 laws of the universe of Hermeticism. Mentalism, which is the first law and the first principle. The universe is mental in nature, arising from the divine mind or the nous. All phenomenon, both material and spiritual, are ultimately the result of mental processes. This principle emphasizes the creative power of thought and consciousness in shaping reality. Correspondence, as above, so below, as below, so above. And then I think the saying goes, there's as within, so without.
Right.
This principle suggests that there's a correspondence between different levels of existence. The macrocosm, being the universe, the great entire existence of the cosmos, is intimately correspondent with the microcosm, or the individual, humankind, being the mirror image of God, the highest power. Man,
I always think about the whole thing with like, zooming in on the neurons, and then it looks just like constellations in the sky. Like there are constellations. Like I always think about that.
right.
Like there, if you've never seen those like pictures that I'm talking about where they compare like the human brain and like neurons and that kind of stuff, comparing to nebulas and constellations, you got to see it. It'll blow your mind.
But like even in your eye, the iris of your eye looks like galaxies. I mean, there's so many examples of this.
Yeah.
Cells in your body,
Yep.
I mean, it's true. It's twofold. It's like on the one hand, the macrocosm is God, and then the microcosm is man, where like it says in Genesis, we were made in the image of God, right? That's what this is. But then the other side of that is like reality is fractal. Exactly what you said. You can zoom all the way up or all the way down, and it's entangled. It's this infinite spiral mathematical pattern.
I was going to say the Fibonacci sequence.
Right.
You see it everywhere, all across the cosmos, big, small, it's everywhere.
Right.
It's a spiral, yeah.
I do suspect that if we had the technology, if we could like peer deeper down, way beneath atoms, even, I think it would probably just keep going.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think it would never stop.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think it's really infinite.
It's like the Grinch.
You've got my undivided attention.
You know what I'm talking about. They zoom into that snowflake and all the Who's live on the snowflake. You know what I'm talking about.
Well, that's also Horton Hears a Who, is it not?
Yeah, that's Whoville.
Dr. Seuss on to something. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, he is, man.
That is the
Cinematic universe.
Yeah. The next game is going to be Marvel versus the Seuss verse.
Yo, dude.
I'm taking thing 1, thing 2 all day.
Dude, yeah, dude. The Seuss verse would pack them up.
Is
They're
this a
scrapping
Captain?
the Wonder Twins, bro. They're packing them up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is this a Cat in the Hat?
What?
I hadn't seen that movie since I was like 12, bro.
The one with Mike Myers? Yeah. So good.
Bro, I swear, man, like if you pit the Grinch and the Hulk,
Okay, wait. Continue.
I feel like the Grinch would fade him.
We're
bro.
not talking. Continue with.
Oh, you're on the Marvel side.
Yeah.
I tend to agree. I think the Grinch is almighty.
Almighty.
All powerful. I don't care.
The Grinch is Hermes Trismegistus.
The Grinch is my preferred green man.
Wow. Okay. We need to get him a Grinch suit.
I don't know who mine is.
We're talking
honestly.
green man fighting bracket. I'm taking Grinch to the end.
Right.
I do like Yoda. I like Yoda.
Good point.
Vibration. Everything in the universe is a state of constant motion and vibration. These vibrations manifest at different frequencies, giving rise to the diversity of phenomenon in the cosmos. By understanding and harmonizing with these vibrations, individuals can influence their own reality.
Just want to say that is an ancient text that's describing that.
Yeah.
And in modern times, science fully corroborates that.
Right.
Fully.
I think they call it
String
the
theory.
Brownian movement.
The Brownian movement, everything vibrates, everything. They were talking about it thousands upon thousands of years ago. How could they have known?
Gnosis.
Yeah.
Spiritual revelation, man.
Yeah.
Or, this is something I haven't even touched on yet, what it's like really believed, where the Hermetic knowledge comes from, Atlantis, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's this great mystery that I hope someday we really solve and like we learn without a shadow of a doubt. The legend goes that this knowledge survived the fall of Atlantis.
Right. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So that's where the mystery schools come from. They had it in secret and they were teaching these 7 laws of the universe from a time where all knowledge was known, right?
Yeah.
We were like at the peak of existence here in the material realm. And according to some movements like Theosophy, they believe that we weren't necessarily all material in the Atlantean times. Or like if you look at Edgar Casey's channeling sessions, he says that we weren't in the material world at all, but it was more like a more spiritual existence.
Yeah.
And the fall from Atlantis was our fall into material reality. I don't know. We can't know,
Right.
but
Yeah.
the idea that there was some sort of precursor existence to the state we're in now, and the Hermetic knowledge and all of these esoteric schools that are copying the Hermetic knowledge and expanding on it in their own cultural lenses and agendas and whatnot, are basically guarding, this lost Atlantean knowledge. So very fascinating stuff. Yeah. How could they know it? It makes sense.
Yeah.
Right?
It's bizarre. Like all we know is what's going on right now and the life that we've lived right now. Like the science that can corroborate the fact that the entire universe is vibration is a very recent development.
Yeah.
Very
150 years or less?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Within the past
but
100 years. Like we can't have known that stuff thousands upon thousands of years ago.
And to go even more into like why that is like so profoundly true, there are other cultures that figured it out spiritually, you could say as well, like the Dogon tribe, Hinduism, they all have their different conceptions, ideas about the universe being vibrations, and it's inherently true.
It's just it blows my mind, like how it's divine. It's divine. Like that knowledge came from somewhere. It was passed into the minds of humanity from somewhere.
Yeah, it's like, was it revealed to people who reached high enough states of conscious to receive a transmission? Or was it like the legendary depiction that it was secretly guarded knowledge?
Literally passed down. Right.
Yeah. Or maybe both.
Right.
I don't know. I wish I did.
We can't know.
I really wish I knew.
But the fact remains, the knowledge was there and it's proven now.
Yeah.
Pretty freaking weird.
Like I genuinely 100% believe in the Hermetic knowledge. Like I'm at the point now where I don't need to be like served proof on a platter. I
Yeah.
feel like I'm at the point in my life where it's like, look, I cannot understand everything that exists.
Yeah.
And there are things beyond my conception and things that are ineffable. And there are some things that are inherently true. And it's up to us to accept.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like there
Yeah.
are just some things that we just cannot prove. And I think that's part of the human experience is to humble.
That's faith.
Right. It's like the act of humbling yourself to receive higher knowledge that you cannot comprehend. It is kind of like faith, you know?
Yeah.
But continuing on with the cosmology, there are 7 planes of existence. The physical plane, the realm of material existence where physical bodies and tangible objects exist. The astral plane, the realm of emotions, desires, and psychic phenomenon. It is often described as a realm of energy and... Oh, shoot. I'm sorry. I hit a button and I lost my spot. Often described as a realm of energy and fluidity where thoughts and emotions have a tangible presence. The mental plane, the realm of thoughts, ideas, and mental constructs. It's the domain of the divine mind or the nous, where the seeds of creation are planted. The causal plane or the karmic plane, the realm of causes and origins where the blueprint for existence is laid out. It is the realm of divine intelligence and the source of all creation. The spiritual plane, the realm of pure spirit transcending all forms and limitations. It's the realm of unity and oneness where individual identities dissolve into the cosmic whole. The divine plane, the realm of the divine beyond human comprehension. It's the ultimate source of all existence, the ineffable one from which all things emanate. And then you have the absolute, the highest, most transcendent level of reality beyond all duality and differentiation. It's the realm of pure being beyond the reach of human understanding or comprehension. There is the concept of the cosmic drama happening throughout the universe. The Hermetic cosmological system usually portrays the universe as a grand drama with divine beings, cosmic cycles, and spiritual evolution of mankind. Humanity plays a central role throughout the universe in this cosmic drama as agents of divine will and participants in the ongoing process of creation and transformation. It is an eternal process beyond death. The alchemical process. A central theme is that we experience alchemical transformation inwardly and outwardly. This process involves the purification and refinement of the soul, the transmutation of base substances into higher forms, and the attainment of spiritual enlightenment. It is through this process that individuals can ascend through the various planes of existence and ultimately reunite with the divine source. Note, I've said this before, but I remember being in 11th grade chemistry, and day one there was a PowerPoint slide, and it was about the origins of chemistry. And I remember it being about alchemy. And it was like, dude, literally a Grays Creek High School version of alchemy. One paragraph, and it was like, back in, the Renaissance era, they had primitive scientific knowledge, and they tried to make potions to turn bars of lead into bars of gold.
Right, yeah.
It's like, oh, they were idiots. They were fucking idiots. That's what I thought.
Right, yeah.
16-year-old me.
Yeah.
But then you read into like the legitimate alchemical first-hand sources, because again, I want to encourage people to look into these first-hand sources. If you're interested in this knowledge, you can read the works of Paracelsus, who is probably the most prominent alchemical writer, probably in all of history. Not Hermetic sources, but like alchemical sources.
Is it Paris? Celsius?
No, it's one word.
Oh.
Like Paracelsus.
Paracelsus.
Or
I'll
look it up.
I got you.
Some of these Greek words be hard for me, bro.
Yeah.
Paracelsus. Paracelsus. Oh, he's actually Swiss. Cool. I thought that was a Greek word. Anyway, so he has these writings where he, like, literally in the Renaissance era is describing to you the metaphor of alchemy, and he says something to the effect of, like, alchemy is not mixing potions and turning lead into gold, but it is the allegory for the transformational process of the soul, whereas the human is the lead being in your crude original incarnated state, and through the fire of Azoth, the holy fire, whatever, the divine forces, basically putting you through the fucking ringer.
Yeah. To purify your soul.
Into gold.
Right.
It's a metaphor.
Right.
Right? It's not a bunch of idiots making potions.
Right. Yeah.
It's an advanced body of spiritual knowledge.
Yeah.
Right?
With the goal of reaching enlightenment.
Yes. It comes from Hermeticism, right? In the Renaissance era, 1400s, 1500s, there was this resurgence of the Hermetic knowledge throughout medieval Europe. So they had these alchemists who were writing, they had all these secret alchemical symbols, and there's this belief that they had this secret twilight language where they were like encoding this stuff behind symbols, to pass to other initiates and other mystery schools, so the profane like us who aren't initiated, might not understand if they came across their writings. But it was a very intricate system of refining the soul and raising your levels of consciousness. That's what alchemy was. So
the real alchemy.
Yes, the real alchemy, which again was a resurgence of the Hermetic knowledge in medieval Europe.
Yeah.
So now we're going to move on to the 7 Hermetic laws. The first 3 of these we already covered, but it was the principle of mentalism. The whole universe is the mind. It emanates from the mind of God. Everything that exists, from the smallest particle to the vast cosmos, is the result of mental processes. The mind of God is the primary creative force behind every manifestation, every emanation, everything in existence. This principle underscores the power of consciousness and its role in literally shaping reality, right? Number 2, correspondence, as above, so below. The highest level of reality is intimately entangled with even the lowest level of reality. Mankind is made in the image of God. To understand the higher spiritual world, we have to look within ourselves and understand that we're fractals of God. We have the spark, right? I mean, I can only say it in so many different ways,
right?
But as above, so below. Or as Jesus said in the Gospels, "My Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name.
Thy kingdom come, thy will be done
on earth as it is in heaven." As above, so below.
Damn. I was wondering where you're going with that.
As your will takes place in heaven, may it also take place on earth.
Damn.
As above, so below.
Okay.
Right? It is believed in the esoteric circles that is knowledge, like secret knowledge that he was dispensing to the masses, right? In the Lord's Prayer. It's also believed that the Lord's Prayer contains basically like references to the 7 chakras, but that's another conversation. Principle of vibration. Everything is constant state of vibration. Thoughts are vibration. There's an old Rosicrucian manual that I came across somewhere that says something to the effect of thoughts have wings.
Ooh.
You imagine your thoughts have wings and they're flying throughout the universe. They have vibrations and they have an effect on physical reality. But now we're moving on to the 4th one, which we haven't covered. Principle of polarity. All things have opposites or polarities, such as hot and cold, light and dark, love and fear. These polarities are complementary aspects of the same phenomenon, and they are necessary for the balance and harmony of the universe. By transcending duality and embracing unity, everything is one. God is the one, right? All is one. Individuals can navigate the fluctuations of life with greater equanimity. Whatever the fuck that means. I'm just keeping it real.
It means like an anonymous horse, I think.
Equine. Yeah, like equestrian.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no, I believe you.
Mental calmness and composure.
Well,
that works too.
Yeah,
I guess.
It doesn't make me think of a horse, but whatever.
Equanimity. Okay, I learned a new word today.
The principle of rhythm. Everything in the universe operates according to cycles, rhythms, and patterns. These rhythms, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Hey.
That's what I'm saying.
These rhythms govern the ebb and the flow of life from the seasons of the year to the cycles of birth, growth, decay, and renewal. Everything is a cosmic swing of a pendulum, right? So we're in the dark ages now, and it's going to be, because of the age of Aquarius, we're going to have that cosmic swing back to the age of light. And then, maybe thousands of years from now, there will be another swing back to the dark. It's just how reality operates. It's a giant universal rhythm.
Ebb
right?
and flow.
Yeah. It's like described as literally a pendulum,
That's cool.
And it says that the equal measure that it swings to the left, it will return to the right, and vice versa.
In equal measure.
Yes. But you could apply that to your life. And all the bad that you've experienced, as bad as it can get, the trauma, the brutal suffering that we can experience in this life, it can swing back, and you can experience higher levels of good and joy and, peace and happiness. And I have found that to be true. I mean, it's like my dad has spoken to thousands of people throughout the last 17 years dealing with this phenomenon stuff, and 99% of people who have seen the phenomenon have experienced trauma and suffering.
Yeah.
And they've been at such a broken point in their life, and their will has been crushed, that they're ready for the good to come in. They're ready for the light. You know, it's like...
It always swings back.
Yeah. There's definitely some sort of correspondence there. Number 6, the principle of cause and effect, also known as karma. Every action has a corresponding reaction, and every cause has an effect. The law emphasizes the interconnectedness of all events in the law of karma, the notion that individuals are responsible for their actions and will inevitably experience the consequences. By understanding the principle of cause and effect, individuals can have a higher awareness of the outcome of their actions on other people. So it's like, again, it's like, you shouldn't be a good person. You shouldn't try to be Christ-like or Buddha-like or freaking Yoda-like, because you are going to be judged by God. And, there's an angel up there in 2024, because I would imagine they do update their systems. They probably don't have filing cabinets anymore. They have a tablet, and they're keeping track of all your sins.
I would hope so. That they use like File Explorer or Microsoft Excel.
Maybe they use ChatGPT.
They might.
I don't know, man.
Yeah,
but
they might.
I'm just saying, like, it's not like you're supposed to be good, because this is what I feel like is the problem with people who are like, I don't know, is God up there watching me do this, do that? It's like, no, you are.
Mm-hmm.
Sure, God is, but God's not sitting here judging you, sending your ass to hell down the block. You know what I mean? That's not what it's about. It's about you literally are a vibration in the universe that is entangled to everything in existence, and every thought you have, every emotion you have, every word you speak, and action you commit emanates vibrations into the world around you.
It has an effect.
It has an effect.
Everything.
And just like that other law, the laws are interchangeable, and they mix and they interplay. The effect that you put out into the world, that pendulum is going to swing back.
Yeah.
It's not because someone up there is like, actually, you didn't go to church today.
Right.
Oh, you drink Saturday night? Oh, yeah. Sorry, you're not making it to heaven this time, buddy. It's not like that. You know what I mean? It's deeper. It's more beautiful. It's more complicated. It's karma. It's like,
it couldn't be that simple.
Yeah, you are responsible for your actions. You are liable to incur karmic forces upon yourself if you knowingly and willfully do bad to other people and harm other beings. And it might not be like, it gets you now. It might be, 20 years down the road.
Mm-hmm.
Could be tomorrow. I mean, how can we know, right? There's this grand cosmic scheme that we can't see. The last law. The principle of gender. Everything in the universe has masculine and feminine aspects, and these polarities are essential for creation and manifestation. The masculine principle is active, assertive, and outwardly directed, while the feminine principle is receptive, nurturing, and inwardly focused. By embracing and balancing these polarities within oneself, individuals can harness the creative power of the universe and achieve greater wholeness and integration with oneself. So, I think that's pretty self-explanatory. You think about nature, it's like even, plants and animals and everything. Dude, even atoms.
Down to a cellular level.
Right.
Everything. Yeah.
Atomic.
Yeah.
Protons, right? Protons and electrons. Yeah. I mean, everything has a polarity and an opposite. And I feel like that one is just so self-explanatory.
Like chromosomes in DNA have gender. Everything does. Everything. All the way to the highest, down to the lowest. Everything has gender.
I mean, come on. It's not that hard.
It's not that hard.
It's hard, too hard. So I want to talk about God. There's a few more things that I want to hit. God, in the Hermetic view, the all or the one. It's like the ultimate source and emanation of all things. It's the mental phenomenon that exists in the highest conception of reality, but then it's actually like beyond what you can even fathom. It's unknowable through physical experience. It's only knowable through gnosis, through inner illumination. right? It's beyond reason. It's beyond proof. It's beyond objective science and evidence. It is this ineffable, unknowable reality that completely exists outside of physical experience. That is God.
Facts. That's God.
It's visible, it's invisible, it's material and immaterial. It's the visible and the invisible sun that animates the entire universe. It's the underlying thread that unifies everything, even diversity. It's the complete interconnectedness of everything throughout the entire universe. Transcendence. Oh, I just covered that, so I'll skip that one. Unity and multiplicity. It's a paradox. It's like the ultimate unity, but also we are separate from God being in the material world. It's like we're connected on the fundamental level, but also until we reach the inner illumination, we're separate.
There's a barrier.
Yeah, there's a barrier. Mm-hmm. It's like hot and cold, light and dark. They both exist on the same spectrum, the same continuum.
But there is something separating them.
Yeah. But not really.
Right. There's an illusion of separation.
Right.
Right.
It's an illusion.
Yeah.
Yes, we are in the illusion of separation. Mm-hmm. Theurgy. I thought this was very interesting, and it's a word I don't see a whole lot. Hermeticism emphasizes spiritual practice and theurgy as means of aligning oneself with the divine and participating in the ongoing process of spiritual evolution. Through spiritual practice, you basically attempt to attain gnosis or direct knowledge of the transcendent God. The nature and the destiny of the human soul. I think this is very important when talking about a myth or religious system. You say, what happens after death? What's the grand purpose of the soul and why it's here? Every system has a different philosophy. According to Genesis, it's like, oh shit, well, you're cursed because you ate the apple.
Right. Yeah, that's it.
You ate the apple.
That's it. That's the whole purpose.
You're a bad apple.
Yeah, that's the whole purpose.
They had the freaking crab apple was sitting right there, and she just couldn't resist.
It was a crab apple?
I mean, it was rotten.
It seems pretty reductive when you think about it. Like, that's the whole purpose of the human soul, is to like pay penance for this like original sin. That's the whole purpose.
Yeah,
it seems really reductive.
Yeah, and I am downplaying like the whole story, and there's more to it than that. It's like, because they disobeyed God, but then it's like, you get to the esoteric view, and it's like the Gnostics are like, hey, that God was actually like trying to enslave you guys, and that was the demiurge. Right, so it's like, what is it?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But the divine origin, according to Hermeticism, which I rock with, the human soul is believed to originate from the divine realm. Like, we came from there. We're not just born here and created here. It's not like you're born and it's like, oh, a new soul. It's like, no. You are eternal. Mm-hmm. You are an eternal essence that has literally existed since before space-time was even a continuum, and we were a part of the original light in the highest transcendent plane, right? Mm-hmm. The divine essence imbues the soul with inherent divinity and the potential for spiritual growth. We have a tripartite structure. The human soul is often described as consisting three main components: the nous, the spirit or the mind, and in Hermeticism, spirit and mind are interchangeable. Mm-hmm. The mind is the spirit. The highest aspect of the soul, representing the divine intellect and the wisdom. The psyche or the soul, it encompasses your emotions, desires, personality traits, serving as the individual's psychological and emotional center, or the soma, the body, the physical vessel through which, the soul interacts with the material world. We're considered immortal, eternal, transcending the temporal realm of physical existence, and while the body dies, the soul forever and ever and beyond ever continues the journey of illumination way past the material plane. It's like an ever increase of enlightenment.
It's like the
higher and higher
microcosm, macrocosm thing again.
Crazy thing, just a complete tangent that I find very interesting, is this is more or less a kind of a secretly guarded Mormon doctrine that is not very commonly known, but they actually have a principle known as continual increase, and they say the same thing.
Right.
That I mean,
it doesn't stop here.
Right. Yeah. We don't have to get in the weeds of it, but it's
the climb of the soul, or
Yeah.
it doesn't stop here. It continues even after you transcend into that spirit world, that next place.
Also, a lot of high-level Mormons are Masons.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, you look in the Mormon Bible and there's Egyptian hieroglyphs and they have like Masonic symbols and initiations. And
that Hermetic knowledge is everywhere.
it's everywhere. Yes, that's my point. I'm not trying to legitimize Mormonism. I'm just saying it's everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
It's the thing behind the thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like the Wizard of Oz, you know? It's the man behind the curtain.
Yeah.
Like, no one really knows, but
yeah,
it's influenced everything. Spiritual evolution is the destiny of the soul. Basically, through successful lifetimes, reincarnation is like a legitimate part of the doctrine. The soul undergoes a process of growth, learning, and purification, gradually unfolding divine potential and wisdom. Eventually, you reach a point where I think you essentially like have become enlightened beyond physical and experience, you know, incarnation, and you just keep going.
Mm-hmm.
You keep going into the divine realms and into the angelic realms and forever and ever. Gnosis and enlightenment, that's the goal, is to continually achieve higher levels of consciousness. Attainment of gnosis, direct knowledge of the divine, is crucial for the soul's journey. Spiritual practice, contemplation, the pursuit of wisdom. You're on a journey to seek to deepen your understanding of the knowledge of, you know, God and the spiritual world, the nature of the divine. Harmony with the cosmic order. We're intimately connected to living in harmony with the divine order of the universe, trying to embody those natural laws within our life and you know, using them justly in the treatment of others and our aspirations for enlightenment. Eternal progression. Ongoing and eternal process. I know I already hit on this, but after attaining enlightenment, the soul continues to evolve and deepen its connection with the divine, perpetually expanding its understanding and consciousness. I think I have like 2 more things I wanted to hit on here. 2.5. But the dark force. So I was like, is there a dark force in Hermeticism? When I say dark force, I mean like the devil, you know, Kali, whatever. Every religion has some sort of entity that's like the king of hell or, you know, whatever. Antichrist. And I was just like, is there a dark force? What I found was like, no, not really. Not in the Hermetic body of literature. The dark force is the illusion. It's the ignorance. The dark force is the lack of the knowledge, right?
Which goes along with the duality thing, the principle of duality, because if God is the knowledge, then the absence of knowledge is the opposite of God. Which would be the quote-unquote dark force. I've
said this before, but like I believe that the dark force is like, I think it's more or less like an egregore. Like, I don't think that there's some like almighty Satan that exists in hell below, but I think it's like an ancient, I mean, this is going to sound out there, but not really. I think it's like an ancient group that is more or less interfacing with some sort of psychic egregore that is running things here. I don't think it's like some eternal devil that's like destined to fight war with God. Like I think it's like people. Like I think it's
like the spirit of the attachment to the material kind of thing.
Yeah,
I mean, people that are attached to the material realm.
The people that like run the world. I mean, you know, the easiest way to say that is Illuminati, right? Again, it's like we don't really know if that's accurate, but there is a literal group of people here in power, the way beyond billionaires. There's trillionaire families like the Rothschilds and all these different people that have existed for centuries and even millenniums, since the times of Babylon. They had like bloodletting magical sacrifice rituals for power, and you know, even the Aztecs were ripping people's hearts out under the eclipses. I mean, these
hundreds.
Yes, sometimes 10,000 a day. You know, this kind of stuff has existed for thousands of years. The powerful classes of different nations, and I just think over time it's consolidated to be this secret global power that is running the world, and I think that's the devil. Right? Like I think there are obviously evil spirits. I mean, evil things and evil forces, but it's not like one unified entity. I think God is the unified entity, and the evil force is just it's fractured. It's hard to explain. It's, you know, I see it a certain way, but
That's interesting.
I like what Hermeticism says. It's like, no, there's not a devil. It's like, I mean, it's, it's like ignorance is the devil.
It's like the dark force is whatever God is not. It's like wherever God, I guess, like God would technically be everywhere, but it's like wherever God is not present. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Wherever that spirit is not being sought after or prioritized, it's like that would be the dark force.
When you think about it from this lens, it makes sense that they would want to try to convince us there is no God, there is no spirit. Why they would want to try to convince us that all this phenomenon stuff is aliens, it's monsters, it's reptilians, it's Dracos, it's all this physical mumbo jumbo voodoo crap from all these other worlds, and they're trying everything they can. It's like the lady said, it's a dark force in power. They're scripting out the book of Revelations, and there's going to be a great deception that there is no God and it's aliens.
Right.
It makes sense. Like if what this is saying is true, like, if the evil force of the universe is the ignorance and giving into the illusion of the material world and not, interfacing with the spirit, of course the people in power wouldn't want us to have access to this knowledge.
Yeah. The ones who perpetuate the ignorance are the dark force.
Right. Yeah. Totally makes sense.
Yeah. I see. That's interesting.
Illusion and ignorance clouds the mind and obstructs one's understanding of the spiritual truths. These forces can manifest as false beliefs, distractions, attachments to material desires, preventing individuals from realizing their divine nature and fulfilling their spiritual potential. Negative influences it does acknowledge the existence of negative influences and energies that can affect individuals on their spiritual journey. But again, it's like not one unified devil like we're told,
Yeah.
These influences can arise from internal sources like egoic tendencies or negative emotions, as well as external factors such as societal conditioning or environmental stressors, or also the lower self. A recognition of the lower self, it represents the aspects of the individual associated with material desires, base instincts like animalistic urges, the really dark, low vibrational thoughts that exist deep within the dark parts of the psyche. Everybody has this within them. Mm-hmm. Nobody is...
It's human nature.
It's human nature, yeah. I mean, they told us in Turning Red, bro.
A good movie.
It is, but that's the whole point of the movie.
Right.
It's like integrating with your shadow, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's really esoteric, but serious, though. That's
yeah.
really the point of the movie.
Yeah.
Like, we all have a shadow side. Even Jung said it. We all have a shadow. We talk about shadow work. It's like, how are you interacting with it? Mm-hmm. Are you letting it consume you, or are you like shaking its hand and being like, I understand you are a natural part of my existence and you are here for me to learn.
Down with my demons.
Yeah, that is
literally,
what your shirt
they're
says.
Literally shaking hands.
Wow.
It's a human hand and a demon hand shaking hands.
Yeah. I mean, hey, I'm just saying, dude. Entropy and discord. Presence of entropy, which basically is like chaos, or discord is chaos, which can manifest as disharmony. It's not inherently malevolent, but they can disrupt the natural order and impede the soul's evolution towards higher states of consciousness. Mm-hmm. Okay. The last main thing that I wanted to talk about was entities and how they exist within the framework of Hermetic thought. Angels in Hermeticism are sometimes described as celestial beings or messengers of divine wisdom. They're seen as emanations of divine attributes or principles, serving as guides or intermediaries between the divine realm and humanity. While not always depicted in the same way as Judeo-Christian traditions, angels in Hermeticism embody spiritual qualities, assisting individuals on their journey of evolution. Spirits, spiritual entities, or forces that permeate the universe exist in Hermetic thought. They could be associated with various aspects of nature, like elemental spirits, planetary intelligences, logos. They're often seen as expressions of cosmic principles or archetypal energies influencing the natural world and human consciousness. The beings did tell my dad that there are elementals. Mm-hmm. Sometimes he sees these orbs that look like a little fire, and he calls them a flame. He says they're like elementals. Light beings. This was a key for me, because years ago I read a Hermetic text. I can't remember which one it was. Maybe it was the Kybalion, which I have not even referenced yet, and we're an hour and 19 minutes in. That's a shame. And I think it was in the Kybalion. It talks about evolving to higher levels of existence to becoming a light being. I don't know, but that's where I got the word. It was from Hermeticism. That's why I started. You know, it's like when all this stuff started, Dad never called these beings light beings.
Right, yeah.
I came up with that.
Nice.
And it's like, cool. It's obvious, you know, it's like if you think about it, they're beings of light. They're balls of light. They're orbs. They shine like a light. It's like anybody could have came up with that. But I thought really hard about this for years. It's like, can't call them angel. I mean, I do, but, you know, not most of the time because people get offended. They're not aliens. What are they?
Beings of light.
Beings of light. Yeah, it's
light
like it's universal. It's just a universal truth. I mean, you know, angels are beings of light.
Yeah.
Why not? You know, Jedi are beings of light. It's a concept that exists universally. So I learned about that from a Hermetic text. They're luminous entities that embody divine wisdom and illumination. These beings are often symbolic representations of spiritual enlightenment and the attainment of higher consciousness. They can guide individuals towards awakening and transformation. Life after death, the journey of the soul beyond the physical realm and the continuation of illumination after death. The immortality of the soul, according to Hermetic thought, teaches that the soul is eternal. It transcends the limitations of the physical body. While the body perishes, the soul persists beyond death, continuing its experience in the spiritual realm forever, past the need for material incarnation. Spiritual evolution after death. It undergoes a process of purification and evolution. This is important, I really wanted to talk about this. It may experience a period of reflection and review, where it assesses its actions and experiences from its earthly life. This process is believed to contribute to the soul's growth and progression towards higher states of consciousness. So think about it. If you're an evil person, right? I believe that there are people out there in the world who may be narcissists or psychopaths or just completely crazy, negative, hateful, awful people. And these people, I believe, do harmful, malicious things to others, and I don't think they're like, you know, they're crazy behind the eyes. Like, they don't see the harm that they do.
Oh yeah, they're oblivious to it.
Could you imagine the horror that they feel when they die and they see the review of what they've done? You know what I mean? Think about it. Think about why that's necessary for the soul. You've lived your whole life and been in delusional denial that you're not harming people, that you're not doing terrible, negative things to people, you know, serving yourself, your base instincts to cheat and to steal and to step over others for that promotion at that job or cheat on your spouse or, you know, whatever, steal, rob, kill. They don't think they're doing wrong.
Yeah.
Otherwise, why are they doing it?
And then in that moment, they realize everything they've ever done is wrong.
Yeah, and then they die, and they're like, ah! Oh, my God. And they're seeing everything they've ever done. You know, I mean, think about it. It's necessary for the soul, dude. It's like DMT, bro.
Oh, my God.
I wanted to talk about that because it's like the Bardo loop, man. It's like in Tibetan Buddhism, or maybe it's the Tibetan Book of the Dead. They talk about that, where it's like you die and you like review your life. Or people always say, my life flashed before my eyes.
Well, and also in Christianity, it's like when you face God after death at the gates, he shows you everything you ever did. He flips the pages and tells you everything you ever did wrong.
On his tablet.
On his iPad. Yeah, he flips through. He asks ChatGPT to explain it.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just saying, man, I think that's a very fascinating concept. I've always believed it to be true, but to see that it was like mentioned in the Hermetic text, I'm like, okay, there's got to be something to this.
Yeah.
It makes sense for the progression of the soul. Like, how could you learn from what you've done wrong if you know, there's just some people that get away with bad stuff their whole life. And you know, it's like,
well, it's the whole principle of reincarnation. Like, if the whole principle is that, like, each lifetime you learn new lessons, and your soul apparently either improves or whatever, it's like, how would your soul even know what it needs to improve upon or what it did right, or how would it even carry that momentum into the next lifetime if it didn't have a moment of reflection?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How would you even know what you did wrong?
Yeah.
You know?
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, it makes perfect sense to me. Spiritual evolution after death. The soul undergoes a process of spiritual purification. Oh, I just read that one. I'm sorry. Reunion with the divine. The ultimate destiny of the soul is to reunite with this divine source, often described as the all, the one, the nous, and in Gnostic thought it can be known as the pleroma, but it's the same thing. They're interchangeable concepts. This reunion is the culmination of the soul's journey where it merges back into the divine essence from where it originated. There is the existence of the multiple realms or planes of existence beyond the physical world, like the heavenly realms where souls experience states of bliss and enlightenment, as well as the lower realms associated with spiritual stagnation or purification. Karma and reincarnation. You undergo multiple lifetimes in order to learn and evolve spiritually, with each incarnation presenting opportunities for growth and self-realization. I wanted to pause with these 2 points. This is why I stopped believing in hell in the traditional sense. You know how it goes. Growing up, being a kid, you're so terrified of hell. You're praying every night, please don't send me to hell. I'm sorry, God. I'm sorry I said a cuss word. Mm-hmm. Or whatever you did as a elementary school kid, afraid of the boogeyman, the devil going to drag you down to freaking hell. And I start reading these Hermetic texts, and it's like, the destiny of every soul is to eventually reincarnate and, learn these lessons and be purified and, go back home, to the highest realm. And I'm like, dude, if souls are supposed to be eternal, how can we believe that you live one life for 70 years? That's your one shot. You could be born into, an impoverished village in Africa, or you could be born in Beverly Hills and you're the child of a rock star with millions of dollars. It's like, how's that fair? It's not fair. Life is not fair.
No.
How does it make sense that every soul has this equal opportunity with one shot? And it's like, oh, well, you didn't confess Christ.
Yeah, you're infinitely sealing your fate with this one little lifetime.
Right.
Infinitely. Your eternal fate.
Right.
Depends on this one little lifetime. Like
it says in Genesis, we're made in the image of God. Well, I kind of feel like, God's immortal. God's eternal.
Right.
I was under the impression we're supposed to be, but then, there's this idea that we live this one life and then you die, and then you die the second death after the judgment.
Right.
You die the second death, and then you're in the lake of fire forever.
Forever.
It just doesn't make sense to me. It never really made sense to me.
It never made sense to me either. It was scary.
Yep.
But in the back of my head, I was always like, that's bullshit. Like, no way.
But in the front of your head, you're like terrified.
Of course, because you're being told to be terrified.
Yeah.
Your pastor is telling you, to be terrified.
I had a revival at my church one time. For those that don't know what revival is, it's like it's a whole event, and it's like you have pastors from all around the region come and like guest pastors. And this one guy literally said something like, it's been many years now, like 5 to 10 years. And he was like, you think it's hard now? He said, you think it's hard now? Life is roses compared to the eternal flames of hell. I'm sitting next to people who literally are suffering drug addiction.
Oh.
You think it's hard now? Life is roses compared to hell. And I'm like,
there's people sitting next to you living through hell currently.
Hell. Yeah. And died from it. And I'm sitting there thinking like, wow.
How insensitive.
Right.
How it flies in the face of everything that God is supposed to be.
Right.
Man, it just never computed. It doesn't make sense.
Life is all roses.
Yeah, it's great.
Compared to hell.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, man, you made your point.
All right.
But yeah, I mean, the last point here is the union with the divine mind. It's the ultimate destiny of the soul. After everything, after the millions of lifetimes we apparently, according to theosophic thought, might live, or hundreds of thousands over millions of years or whatever, it doesn't matter. The soul's journey is to attain union with the divine mind, the cosmic intelligence, through spiritual practice, purification, illumination, cosmic evolution, ongoing process forever and ever and ever, reaching the highest transcendent reality. And that's it. That's Hermeticism. It's all love. It's all light. It's all about just truth and the harmony and the justice of the universe. And it's just crazy to me. Like, Dude, when you hear this, when I first was researching Hermeticism, it's like, you're kind of on guard. Like, what's the catch?
Yeah, because there's always a catch. There's always something where you're like,
What's
that
the catch?
part I can't vibe with. There's always something.
What's the catch? Is it, I got to sacrifice a goat 3 times a year? Is
Right.
it, I got to confess that I believe Alibaba's better at shipping products than Amazon? Is it, like, what's the catch here that I'm not seeing? With Hermeticism, it's like, literally, man, it's like studying it for years and years and years. I have not seen one catch that's been alarming to me. Like, this is bullshit. This is evil. This is some weird dark occult shit. Like, no, dude, it's all like just the purest, like, love and light. And it just makes sense to me that, like, it is true.
Yeah, it's all very unifying and uplifting, and it's something to look forward to. It's like it's encouraging. It's not a rule book.
It's good. Yeah, exactly. It's good news.
Yeah, gospel.
Yeah, it's not like,
That's what
yeah,
gospel means.
It means the good news.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's not like, dude, it's like going to church. It's like, I believe in God. I believe in this, but like, there's some things that, like, why can't I buy on Sunday?
Right.
Like,
why can't I cut my hair?
Yeah, I mean, come on, man.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. I want a tattoo.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, dude, I gotta wear a suit on Sunday, or I'm, ostracized. My wife has lipstick on, and she's a Jezebel.
Right.
Like, what's the
Yeah.
catch, dude?
Yeah,
There's a catch. There's
always
always a
some
catch.
catch. Yeah.
It's like, there's always a catch with these spiritual systems, bro. And it's like, I'm just telling you, man. That's the cool thing about Hermeticism. It's like a relief hearing this shit. After someone who's been seeking knowledge my whole life, everything I read about this, I'm like, dang, this kind of like,
It's comforting.
it is. It makes you feel good.
It does.
Like, wow, you're telling me I don't have to go through some like strict rules to like be on pins and needles and suffer mentally my whole life and be afraid that I'm sinning and going to hell? Oh, you mean to say like all I got to do is just like really try to be a good person and commune with God and just be the best version of myself that I can be, but understand that like it's a process that goes on forever and ever and ever, and don't have all this pressure to get it right.
You don't
right
have to
now.
have all the answers right now.
Yeah.
It's like walking a tightrope versus just flowing down a stream. Like
Right.
walking the tightrope is like the religion, the exoteric, like, you're always on your toes. You're always on edge. Like, don't fuck up. And then Hermeticism is like, chill the fuck out.
Yeah.
It's fine. It's
It's like, no, literally, like, relax.
chill. It's fine.
Release your attachment.
Yeah. Just chill. If you don't get it right this time, you'll get it right another time. It's going to happen millions of times. And guess what? Even after you're dead, it'll keep going on. Even after your soul leaves this material plane, it'll keep going. You'll
Yeah.
keep flowing. Like,
Right.
just chill.
And it's like, it's not, I'm not making a case for like, oh, I'm off the hook. I don't have to try. Like, no, you do have to try, because everybody has to try. That's why we're here. I think everybody has the responsibility to genuinely try to be the best version of themselves they can be.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean, you should have all this pressure on yourself to be like perfect
Yeah,
and
you
this
don't have to be
ultimate
perfect.
person. It's just, you understand the laws, you understand the nature of the universe and reality itself and how God works. And it's like, okay, the key takeaway here is there is a force that is not only trying to help you, but it is you. You know what I mean? Like it's trying to help you. It's not trying to curse you. It's not trying to
Put you in a little box.
lightning bolt because you sinned. Like,
Yeah.
no. It's like, dude, like, you came here for a reason, and like, just if you fuck up today, big freaking whoop, man. Just get up and try again tomorrow. It's it's like it's not that serious. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
It's not that serious.
but it is too.
Yeah.
It's
yeah.
the paradox.
Yeah. It's
You know?
duality of it.
Yeah, but I think it's
I'm going to
pretty
go
awesome.
on record and say Hermeticism is cool and good.
Yeah, I think I can get behind that message.
Cool. There's no rules.
Hey, I mean, how's the song go? Dang, I was gonna sing this. Come on, man. Sure, brother.
Yeah, sure, brother. So the moral of the story is get that cream on your cake. All right?
Dude,
Get that cream on your cake.
the Shirt Brothers. How does it go?
The song? I don't remember.
I don't remember. It's like
There's some
frickin-
famous band, though, that made it.
Really?
Yeah, it's like the White Stripes or something. I don't know. There's some famous band. We'll find it after the episode.
I can't remember.
Yeah.
I think you should leave.
Yeah. It's a great show.
Yeah.
Watch it. It's
But
great.
also, like, I think we should leave. Like, it's
okay.
past time.
Okay. Bye, guys.
Bye, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to see more, check out our other videos.
And before you go, don't forget to subscribe. See you next week.
Peace.